What's today's date?
Tonight is the 19th.
19th.
Calling to order the September 19th meeting of the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors. The board welcomes those in attendance as well as those that join us online. Mrs. Martin,
That's our house.
may we have attendance, please?
6 board members present in person, 1 present via Zoom, and 2 school board members absent tonight.
Could you identify them, please?
That would be Mr. Gensel is absent and Mr. Dillman is absent.
Okay, thank you. Also in attendance are the superintendent and the administrative cabinet. Will you please join me in the pledge of the flag? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make note, just as we start, that you'll notice that in front of every board member is a copy of our character strong that we just approved. It was my feeling that if we're expecting this, we ought to be the first people to embrace it. So I thought it might end this one at the front table too. This is the second meeting of the month where most official votes are taken, many of which are listed on a consent agenda, which includes those items which are routine or have been discussed at our work session last week. Details of all items, related documents, as well as minutes of past meeting are available on the district website. Our meetings observe the requirements of the school code, legislative directives, the original Act 84 Sunshine Law, all subsequent amendments, judicial rulings, and our school policies to the best of our understanding and ability. Details of all items related to public documents, as well as minutes of past meetings, are available on the district website and posted agenda. That being said, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays or abstention? If not, we'll move on to board commendations. And I have a new version of this. This is an opportunity for us to recognize students and staff who have given outstanding contributions. Thank you to Matt Stem, Executive Director of the IU-13, and his team for hosting our 8th grade students, faculty, and staff at the IU while the new middle school is getting ready to open. Without hesitation, the IU staff worked with our middle school leadership and created a wonderful learning environment. Matt noted, quote, "As I walk around the learning areas just to check to see if anyone needs anything, I'm very impressed by the positive energy and engaged learning occurring and the smiling faces on the teachers and students alike." Thank you to Dawn Dixon, Transportation Director, and her bus drivers. Despite being short-staffed, being faced with numerous scheduling changes and nuances as compared to last year, our students continue to get to school and home safely. Thank you to Ken Johnson and his maintenance and custodial staffs as they helped with the heavy lifting of getting furniture and teacher supplies and materials, not to mention thousands of library books from the old middle school to the new one. Thank you to the middle school community, students, parents, faculty, and staff, as they have demonstrated patience, grace, flexibility, and understanding as we prepare to move into New Jersey Huskin Middle School. We'd like to thank the entire staff of the middle school for all they have done during this unique transition to the new building. Many staff have been moving between multiple locations to support students and other staff, and we are appreciative of everyone who has stepped up to make this a person plan work. The 8th grade teachers have jumped into a new teaching model schedule. They have demonstrated flexibility and continued engaging students in meaningful ways. They have moved their belongings and classroom supplies multiple times and have creatively thought about ways to introduce curriculum and content to students. The 7th grade teachers have been the foundation at the middle school. Not only have they jumped into instruction with students and been incredibly flexible, they have assisted and partnered with 6th grade teachers to help them adjust to the plan. They've also been able to support administrators with thoughtful feedback throughout the move. 8th grade teachers have demonstrated creativity and flexibility as they co-teach and use a cross-curricular approach in the classrooms. The 8th grade teachers have engaged students in various ways while continuing to teach strong academics with larger class sizes and different learning spaces. Shifting to the IU involved much planning and coordination from many individuals, but the teachers' work and professionalism have made the adjustment much easier. And I think that's all we have on that, right? Are there any others in,
That's been mentioned.
I would like to add my own comments to that if I could, about the IU. I was at an IU meeting on Wednesday and was kept after so they could talk to me to tell me how impressed they are with our administrators in the middle school. We have, both of them is their first year there, one of them is a first year administrator, and they were just so immensely impressed with their dedication, enthusiasm, and efficiency, and I wanted to pass that on. I also, I'll save the rest for when I get to the board comments. Be patient, I've lost my agenda.
My turn, Superintendent's.
Yes, superintendent's comments, it's all yours.
Thank you, Madam President. We're down to our last couple of positions to fill, and it's with great pride that I welcome one of our newest candidates tonight. Since Taylor Aloise's move from assistant principal at Fritz and Smoketown to principal at Leola, we have been searching for our new elementary assistant principal. After an extensive process, we are proud to introduce Kara Frazier as our recommended candidate for the position of assistant principal for Fritz and Smoketown Elementary Schools. Kara earned her bachelor's degree in elementary education and master's degree in special education, both from the University of Scranton, or they say up there Scranton.
Yeah.
They don't have T's up in Scranton. And her special education supervisory and administrative certificates from Millersville University. She brings to CV a wealth of teaching and leadership experience, 7 years as a special education teacher, was followed by 3 years as a special education consultant and the last 2 years as special education supervisor. As she noted in her interview, strategies used with special education students are universally beneficial to all students. Proud mom of a 5-year-old, she finds her personal time at hours most of us are rolling over in bed. Kara is up and active in her workouts at 3:45 a.m. What a great way to come in energized and ready to embrace the excitement that is elementary school. We're looking forward to the positive impact she will have on our students, faculty, and parents, and are proud to welcome Kara to the Fritz and Smoketown families. Ladies and gentlemen, Kara Frazier.
Thank
Go.
you, everybody. I wanted to thank you all for this opportunity, and I feel so very, very lucky and honored that I have been chosen to represent you. And I'm very excited to join the team. From what I've seen so far, everyone seems absolutely amazing, and I just feel very lucky that I get to be a part of this team very soon. So thank you very much, I'm very honored.
Awesome. Thank you. Time now for the updated middle school building schedule. We got the teachers in the building today. Excited, overwhelmed, anxious, happy, busy, we're all used. It's all words used today, a couple other ones too, Carrie, if I wasn't mistaken. But they were good. It was all positive overall. We have whittled down the inspectors list to 4 manageable items as we prepare for our final inspection for temporary certificate of occupancy. What made me really happy today is when you look at the front of the building, the glass is in and the doors are in. So that's so huge. Everything is on track to bring our 8th graders in next Tuesday, followed by our 7th graders on Thursday, and then 6th graders joining the party next Friday. Before I turn the mic back over to you, Madam President, I'd like to make a special recognition for an administrator who's made a positive impact on the district, the faculty and staff, and especially the students. In August of 2013, Phyllis Heverly Flesher began her tenure as CV as our Chief Finance and Operations Officer, at the time known as Director of Administrative Services. Phyllis brought with her a wealth and depth of knowledge, starting her career as a research assistant with the Pennsylvania League of Cities and Municipalities, and then as Director of Professional Development with the Pennsylvania Association of School Board Officials. She parlayed these experiences as a senior managing consultant with PFM Asset Management before bringing her talents to public education as the Assistant Director of Business Affairs with Cornwall Lebanon School District. The reason I went down memory lane was to show how well equipped Phyllis has been in successfully addressing the many intricacies and demands of the CFOO position here at CV. Just a few things that she's tackled. Historically, finding free audits while developing and executing $70 million operating budgets. Integration of the outsourcing program for paraprofessionals, cafeteria maintenance, and custodial staffs. Adoption and implementation of a highly qualified, high-deductible healthcare plan with optional pharmaceutical carve-outs. She was integral part of the district facility study resulting in the construction of a new grades 6 to 8 Huskin Middle School and the renovation of the 5 remaining buildings. Development of requests for proposals for district solicitor, architect, and outsourced support programs. Expert management of emergencies. Mold, fires, sinkholes, and lest we forget COVID-19. Provided leadership to the operational side of education to include buildings and grounds, food service, business office, human resources, and technology. She's the administrative point of contact for board policies and a trusted member of my cabinet. Largely due to Phyllis's operational leadership, the CV School District is in the strong shape that it is. Under her tenure, we have not only weathered pandemics, financial highs and lows, changing political landscapes, and a number of state mandates, but we have thrived through all the challenges and successes. I know I speak for Dr. Huskin, our former superintendent, and all the board members who had the privilege of working with Phyllis and saying thank you. Thank you for never forgetting why we do what we do, no matter our position in the district. You have always practiced the mantra of taking care of the classrooms first because we are only in this job because of our students. Every child, every day without exception. The Board of Directors of the Conestoga Valley School Board would like to add their gratitude to that of Dr. Zolkowski. Is people like Phyllis, people who are selfless in their commitment to others, focused on the task at hand, who lead by example, who make a positive difference in the lives of students and adults alike, that are the reason for this award of excellence. Phyllis's actions epitomize the tenets of character, commitment, and community. Phyllis, thank you for making a difference.
And you're giving me. All right, well, that was a little bit awkward to have to listen to. But I will say this, my mantra the entire time I've worked here has been to try to do what's best for this board and this district. So hopefully that has come through and all the things that have happened. If it hasn't, I tried really hard to make that happen. And I don't actually really feel like I deserve this. There are a couple of people in this room who mean the world to me. Adele Hunsinger, Ken Johnson, Teresa Drager is not here, and Joshua Appleby. And that team is an awesome team, and I think I've said to you in my resignation letter, solid group of 4 people, and they will lead this district on the operational side. No questions asked, they don't need me. Awesome group of people, so I leave you in really good hands. Thank you, it's been, I feel like what Kara said, it's been an honor to be here and to work with this team. Have appreciated Dr. Huskin, Dr. Zolkowski's taught me a lot. The cabinet's been great. Dawn, Man, and I were sort of laughing like, you know, we feel like the older experienced ones. I'm like looking around the Hollywood squares on our Zoom, I'm like, oh, it's like Teresa and Dawn and Adele and Andy and I were like the ones that are still here. So, but thank you so much, I really appreciate it, and best wishes, you guys are gonna be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Phyllis.
To add the board's more concise thanks, Phyllis is always presented with clear, concise, and complete reports, and she's always kept the communication open to anyone that needed further information, and we greatly appreciate that. Before we move on to the rest of this agenda, I have one more notice, and that is to note that the September 12th executive session did include in personnel issues. It wasn't originally intended that way. This is a point in the meeting where we have public comments. Is there anyone that would like to address the board on an agenda item? Are there any comments from CVEA or other employee groups?
Not tonight, thanks.
Then we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any concerns or questions before we take a motion?
Real quick, Matt, but did you wanna do your board comments? You said you did a
Oh,
few things you wanted to add to your board.
Oh, yeah. I think I'll do those at the end.
End? No
Yeah,
problem,
I'll do
good.
them at the end.
So consent agenda it is. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say, no,
Roll
oh
call.
yes, roll call. I am not on my game tonight.
We'll help you
Sorry.
out. We'll take care of it.
Okay.
We'll be good.
Okay.
We're doing great.
Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Ms. Kafka?
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge?
Kathy, your
You're on
vote?
mute.
Aye.
And Mrs. Crawford?
Aye. Moving on to our action discussion agenda. Mr. Johnson, you have a lead report for us?
Good evening, all.
I can, long time no see.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you can.
Actually, I just wanted to give you an update. All the samples have been taken from all the buildings and the samples have been dropped off at the lab. I'm just waiting on the lab to get those results back to us. I was told when I dropped them off that their queue was quite large and they couldn't actually give me a date on when those samples will be back, or when the results will be back. So I will have them for the October meeting and just give you an update then, on all those results. So I'm not expecting any issues. We've had good results over the past several years, so really nothing's changed. All we're doing is making improvements in the buildings, with removal of old pipes and things of that nature. So we've not had any issues in the past, and I don't expect any this time, but it's just, apparently we got in the same time frame as everybody and their brother that's bringing samples in for testing, so we're just in a long line of queue right now with the testing agency.
Will this
So,
include samples from the middle school too?
Uh,
The
we-
new middle school?
the new middle school, I actually have water samples from them. It was part of one of the requirements with DEP.
Oh, okay.
That we had them already pull samples from that, so I'll include that test data in with the rest of them.
You don't
so
have
I'll
to
do-
actually do it twice.
Yep, exactly, so, yeah, so like, for example, at all the elementaries, we take 5 to 6 samples, and then because we're a public water source, we're considered a public utility here at the high school and at our service center, we actually have to take, every 3 years, we have to do full samples, and then we're constantly testing that water on a monthly basis, with our operator, Martin's Water Service. So those 2 locations, because we're on private wells, we have to go through a different, category with that. So all the rest of the locations run off of public water sources. And I monitor what their testing results are from those wells that they're sending that, to us as well. So all those municipalities, if there is an issue, I'm on their red flag list, and, I get notifications in case there's a high reading of something or whatever. But they're very good about it, and they're keeping everything above board as well, so. So I'll be back in October. If you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer this evening.
So our report tonight is we have no report yet.
We have no report, but it's in
Yeah,
process.
I appreciate you
so.
letting us know. Any questions?
No.
Okay, then we can move on. The next item on the agenda is the CV Upper Lake Hockey Glassfield Parks Recreation Commission agreement. I did want to explain this very briefly in order that the board and staff and the public understand the return of this item to our agenda. I did provide the board with an updated timetable, historically speaking. But since our last meeting, it was obvious that we were not prepared for a useful discussion. And so we have decided that the best thing to do, to be fair to everyone involved and do our own due diligence, was to hit the stop button and then start with reset. And we're going to start by bringing the current board members and even those of us that have been here for a while, up to date on this whole process. And we have with us Mrs. Carr. If you want to come up, introduce yourself and help us here. I will add the fact, we do have Mrs. Tyson here who sits on that board, so if we need to ask her anything about what's involved, I'm sure she'll be glad to join in.
You can have a
You go, sit down, be comfortable.
Oh, thank you. So, good evening, everybody.
Oh.
My name is Daphne Clare. I'm the Department of Conservation and Natural Resource peer consultant that was hired by the group of municipalities and the Conestoga Valley School District to explore putting together a joint agreement to provide community recreation services to the Conestoga Valley regional area. Westerl Township, which is one of the townships, of course, in this area, was encouraged and invited to be part of this effort, and they declined. But the door is wide open for them. So there is space for them to be part of this agreement at any given time, or in part of this effort. I am a native of Lancaster County. I grew up in Strasburg, so I was a pioneer. I now live in Berks County, and I oversee the Reading Recreation Commission, which is a rec commission that was formed as a partnership between the Reading School District and the City of Reading. That has been in existence for going on 11 years. After 5 years of being operational, we were chosen by a national panel as Agency of the Year in the state of Pennsylvania. So community commissions make a difference. They can make a strong difference. And the reason I'm here tonight is because the Upper Laycock, Conestoga Valley, and East Lampeter conducted a plan, a rec plan, the Conestoga Valley Parks and Recreation Plan. And I'm not sure, have all of you seen that plan?
The plan, no.
Okay,
No.
so,
I think some of us may have seen a
draft.
plan some years ago,
okay.
but it's been a long time.
So suspecting that, and I'll be honest, it's 239 pages long, but I did copy a couple chapters out of this plan, just so you can look at it, see who was on the board when the plan was done, and then I can get electronic copies of that plan to all of you if you would like that. I have the
Yeah,
PDF.
that's how we got it before, because in my notes, I have all the page numbers noted.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if anybody would like just like a little mini copy.
I would appreciate it.
Here's
To the, anybody else?
And if you would leave extra for our absent board members, we'd appreciate it.
I have 6, but I'm happy, like I said, I'm happy to
Just make
send.
sure that you have one for your file.
Here you go.
Holy shit.
Here's one more copy. Okay, we're good? All right, thank you. And I also have my business card here if anybody would like that, for my contact information. So I was contracted a year ago to meet with the school district and the 2 municipalities to help form an agreement to actually provide community recreation services. This was the top recommendation that came out of the Park and Rec Plan that was funded by the Department of Conservation and Natural Resource for this area. And they looked at the effectiveness of regionalizing park and recreation services to better serve the community and provide a more holistic approach to health and wellness and living, standard of living in this community for people of all ages, not just kids, but all ages in the community. They did an inventory of all the facilities, and not surprisingly, Conestoga Valley School District, like every school district and every commission in the state of Pennsylvania, has the most facilities. And also is sort of the glue that holds this community together. And we saw that in our results from our Park and Rec survey that we just did, which I have here, and I can email results, a copy of all that. But when we were looking at possible names for this commission, everybody was pointing, it has to have Conestoga Valley in it. It has to have Conestoga Valley in it, because that's what they associate with, right? So people who had kids, who don't have kids, the school district's really the glue here. So where school districts come into play is that they do have the facilities that a lot of times community programs are offered at. And that is far and above the chief contribution that a school district brings to a commission like this. So it's the use of the facilities at no charge. That is, and for your benefit, I just put together a brief chart of local rec commissions, names that you'll be familiar with, and it shows the breakdown of the funding between the municipalities and the school district that's involved. I'm not aware of any rec commission that has been undertaken in Pennsylvania that does not include the local school district.
When you talk about facilities, you're talking about the ones right out here?
Talking about like a gymnasium
Yeah.
in a school for a dance, or if you're having a basketball tournament and you needed a rain location, or whatever, or it could be a classroom for like a leadership program, or maybe a place to do an art, arts and crafts. The one glaring, I don't know, I hesitate to call it a deficiency, but for lack of a better word at the moment, there is no central recreation center in Conestoga Valley area. This has come up time and time again. It came up in the master plan. It came up in the latest survey. That is not something that can't be overcome, however. It just looks a little different. So I would view it as a recreation center that's sort of spread out, among the different municipalities and the school district facilities. So for example, special events are events that bring communities together. Maybe you have one of these locations has an awesome place to bring everyone together, bring the school choirs together, do a tree lighting, as an example. Not every municipality may do that tree lighting. Maybe the next municipality is known for something else, a holiday parade or something like that. The idea for this type of commission is to have events and classes and sports leagues and intramurals and things that can bring people of all ages together and strengthen social connectedness and family connections in your community. So, and Mrs. Groff said, do not bother talking about the benefits of parks and recreation, so I will leave that spiel out, but I am happy
Well,
to.
I don't think anyone would disagree, that we all know that sort of community thing is important.
And I am joined today, there's 3 members of the committee here. Phyllis, who's been awesome, Diane, and I believe I see Dean in the back. Yes, and they've been integral to this process as well. So
I'm
we've had
sorry, the third person represents who?
Tina Henry in the back.
Conestoga,
Oh, okay. Got it.
yes. And Ralph Hutchison and, people from Upper Lake Hawk, Mike, and all sorts of folks.
And this process has been going on for how long?
I was brought in last year. I was hired last year. The plan is from 2020. And to be honest, I don't, how many
It
years
does go back further
before?
than that.
2017.
2017.
Is when we started the original
Yeah, I
open
had-
space and rec plan.
I had some from
And that was finished up
2015.
in 2020. And then COVID kind of put a little bump in
Sure.
it, so we could get DCNR and get Daphne.
Although we have a lot to consider, I'd like to take a little bit of time today for any board members to address specific concerns that they'd like to highlight.
I'm just curious as to what resources the townships don't have that they'd be looking to use from CV. Like, I don't know, baseball, I know, like, baseball field, they're probably, what would the townships be needing from us on, our research, like what would you be pulling from us?
So what most likely would happen is use of space, typically gyms, a gymnasium for like a special event, or overflow for a volleyball program, working around the school district schedule. So in the hierarchy, it would be the school districts first, any school activities would be first, and then the rec commission would follow that. So as an example, I run programs in Reading. We need to use the gyms for adult volleyball because we have a multiple tournament. We use our gym, we use some school district gyms, but they told us we have people in there until 8:00. So our volleyball program goes in from 8 to 10, and things like that. So we work around it, but it's to engage as many people as we can in the community, in community recreation.
So I would ask the very opposite question. So what is
CV needing from township facilities, and maybe that's a Dina question too, if you have any input there, just so I can better understand like the, what exactly, or how would CV be benefiting from it in that capacity? Like, what do we need from the township?
Why, I can answer that unless Dina wants to.
I would have some suggestions too. I mean, I think one of the ways CV benefits is all taxpayers benefit from this effort. So people that don't have, taxpayers that live in our district but don't send their kids to CV schools still benefit from this. Senior citizens, a lot of times there's, especially when you're doing budgets, talk about how seniors, what do they get out of their school taxes? Well, this is something that senior citizens will have activities and community events to attend that, help with that. Summer playground. When my kids were in school in the 90s, we had summer playground. They would come to the school district every day from 9 to 12 for 6 weeks. We're bused from my house to the school for a summer playground. That has totally disappeared. There's no such, there's no summer activities at all for kids in this area anymore. So summer playgrounds, arts and rec programs, it can enhance the learning, especially during the summertime, especially because there'll be organized activities for kids to have during the summer, which there really isn't right now too. So, a healthy community breeds healthy children, and we've hired a lot of people in the district to deal with social and emotional issues. Well, this is another way that we can, look at the social and emotional health of not only the kids, but our whole community, because there's going to be, it's fostering civic pride and engagement in our community. We're not siloing everybody off. We want to bring everybody together.
So maybe I should have been a little bit more specific, as far as maybe more tangible things like fields and those pieces. Not so much, I totally get what you're saying, but in that capacity of like areas, like what would CV need that we don't have as far as like maybe sports fields or something like that?
So, okay. So when I started this process, one of the things that really came out loud and clear from the CV folks was that your fields and your facilities are predominantly the ones that are used for everything. It's very concentrated. The idea is that this would try spread out those activities as much as possible, but still keep everybody involved. The idea is not to have like every single soccer program on a Conestoga Valley field, that you would spread those out, preferably with all the townships, including West Earl, So that would be the goal. And it's less wear and tear on Conestoga Valley's fields. Ideally, to just spread those things out.
Interesting. So when we invested in our facilities, I do not recall the township dropping off a check to pay for anything. Do you? I don't know. I'm asking, is that rhetorical? No?
This year
So I've got 2 fields out there that are grass that I would love to do turf. Would the township be willing to invest in our facilities to make those fields turf?
I can't answer that question.
I didn't think so. So this is really about, let's
But I'm happy to pass it on.
I'm willing to cut it's all about money. A lot of it is about money.
Right.
It's about, and my thing is that when we invest in our facilities, we do invest in facilities. We invest a lot of money in our facilities. And the township doesn't help us with that. And now they want to be part of this big plan. And when we first originally joined this plan, we said, yeah, sure, great. It'd be nice to have the CV logo on it. We could take a look at it from that perspective. But now they're asking for money, quite honestly. To really ask for money to use our own facilities is the way I look at it, because I don't see them taking that money and investing it in another facility that we're going to use. And then are we crossing district taxpayer money for education with township money? So we crossing wires of 2 different tax resources to fund this plan. is really my biggest concern. Because when I write my township check, that's for township stuff. When I write my school taxes check, that's for school stuff, which includes facilities. And I think what the township wants to do is cross those revenue streams. And that's my concern.
To
Anyways,
piggyback
go
off
ahead.
of that, another concern that I had was the in-kind statements, that we would be responsible for everything. Like, it would just be people coming in, using the facility, we're responsible for cleanup, paying all all that stuff. So again, it comes down to the money factor and that crossover piece, I think is where my biggest hangup is. Like, I see the benefits, but it comes down to money, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's like $150,000 over the course of 5 years, and I'm getting a little hung up on that piece.
Just don't know what that's gonna do for us, that we already don't have.
Precisely.
And we've never turned anyone down for sure, unless there's something scheduled, because we do have a policy on facilities and how to use facilities and when to use them, et cetera.
Let me ask this
but go ahead.
about our
Sorry.
facilities. I know that good maintenance requires a plan for how often and how much you use. Are we at our max or anywhere near it? Do we actually have any usage that's not being filled right now?
No, I would go to Dina, but I think we're using all of our fields and facilities. You're not gonna find many days where we're not using a field or a gym.
Right, and especially now that we're down some venues. We're at a loss for fields and a gym and that kind of thing, so not having those, we are very, especially like in the winter time and everything, we're gonna be pretty maxed out. Is that what you meant, like, are we?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
meant, is there time available to expand use of our fields, or are they already fully scheduled?
Sure, definitely in the summertime for sure. And
I'm sorry.
once
The
all
summertime
fields, once all the fields are finished, then yes, we would be able to expand because we will have 3 more at the middle school. Hopefully these 2 grass fields, which
Yeah,
I just
I
heard him, Mr. Talley say.
I'm with you. I was promised something, right, Ken?
Get it in the minutes.
That's what sucks about being historical on the board, is that you remember what was
So
promised.
once, like, that's 5 fields
Yeah.
that we're not using right now.
okay. But by the same token, sometimes they're not being used because they shouldn't be used. They need recovery time. Some
No,
field, no?
that has not happened, no.
Haven't had that
Turf is
problem yet?
pretty,
Well, I guess to piggyback on your question is, I have no idea what kind of facilities the other 2 contributors have to offer. I only know what we have, so I don't have that full picture of just,
I don't know what I don't know.
yes, like, I know what we have, but as a group, I don't know what's available. I like the idea of the senior citizens. I certainly like the idea of the summer program.
And I would like,
Do you know offhand, did we discontinue summer library?
I don't know when, I don't
No,
know
I
if
think
that
we
was
still
even
have a library.
before.
Are
We still do it,
libraries
Dawn?
open over this summer? Does anyone know?
We haven't done it.
Like, not every day, but,
I don't think since COVID.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking about before COVID.
Oh, yeah.
They would have it open for a couple days during the summer.
Brownstown did.
Yeah.
I
but
think,
not
I
since.
do feel that summer programs are important. I don't know how this, works into that.
But it's education related.
Excuse me?
It's educational related.
It's
It's education related.
Yeah,
The library
well,
program and things like that.
but she talks about social emotional support. I get that. I see that as a year-round, something. I'm just,
And we offer IT services for senior citizens.
I don't know what we offer senior
I
citizens
think
right now. I'm
we
not
used to offer
terribly aware
IT
of it.
services where they could bring in their computer and we'd fix
Oh,
it
yeah,
for no
IT.
charge for IT.
But that's about it, isn't
We
it?
did the senior breakfast, so we do a lot of community
We've
events
never
and
been
we do
able to, we used to have adult ed, which we dropped some time ago. We do no
We did.
adult ed at all.
And then it's a hard balance too,
And
'cause-
and we've never been able to involve them as
yeah.
I never thought it would work, but when we first started putting in weight rooms and that, there was this idea that, senior citizens would have time at it, but they didn't. We
Yeah,
used the
probably not.
facilities completely. But I'd be interested to know, what additional facilities would be available by all getting together.
Okay,
Because we are focused on CV,
right.
We are.
but that's our job.
But we want to be good neighbors. And we don't want to make the township mad.
Yeah.
But they tend to take more than they give, if you want to write that down.
I think what
Actually, I
we,
won't.
You won't write that down? That's my
I
thought.
can
Told you
relay
to.
that, I'll
Yeah.
paraphrase.
part of
fine.
what we needed discussion from, when we were given that agreement to look at,
Yeah,
we had no idea what we were to do with it. Accept it or turn it down, or, we
Yeah.
don't know where there's leeway in that. We don't know where there's room to open a discussion to address these things.
there's plenty of room. So here's where that agreement is at. It was a draft. So the committee asked me to put together a draft so that people could chew on it, talk about it, look at it, change it, cross it off, argue about it, whatever. It's a starting point, right?
How did they come up with the numbers?
We reviewed 18 separate agreements that were from Pennsylvania, that were provided by the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, including all the local commissions that are here, and went through paragraph by paragraph and basically identified the things they agreed with and crossed out the things they didn't. So, and that agreement that you have was kind of
Sure.
a compilation of that. So it wasn't just, like, I didn't come up with that. These were all just
Yeah, sure.
pieces that were chosen, by the committee members.
Is it fair to say that the numbers and some of the clauses in there aren't necessarily being recommended, they're just being thrown out there for us to?
Well, in the draft, you'll see there's stuff
A
that
lot
was
of forward,
highlighted
yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
those were different options. And
And we could come up with another option?
it's open for discussion. I mean, we meet monthly, and I'm open by email anytime. I'm welcome to come up with, any ideas and present them that you would like me to. That's why I gave you that chart to show you kind of what other commissions have done. And I will also just note that East Lampeter Township took the lion's share of the cost for this commission. 58% cash contribution plus the benefits and salary for the executive director. Which is going to be a grant, but it is 175, 50, 25, and 0, so it's a 5-year decreasing grant. But, they're very vested. Upper Lake Hawk is very vested, and the committee members from Conestoga Valley, very vested. It's been a very good effort so far. And I'm glad I'm here tonight, because that means somebody's actually reading it, and thinking about it. So my passion is doing this, is serving the community in Parks and Recreation. I feel like I've made a huge difference in my 21 years that I've been doing it. And that's why I'm so passionate about this effort, because I grew up in Lancaster County. And luckily for me, we had a very strong community program. We did. And that's why I'm here today. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to go over the budget, change it, present more ideas, whatever you'd like to do.
One of our other issues, at least mine, is, and this is always difficult for us, to make sure that what we're doing is what our constituents want us to do.
Mhm.
So, have you any idea of the kind of feedback that's available or not available from this?
Yes, so, again, I'm not really exactly sure what everybody's been provided or what you haven't. This was the recent, and I can send this out tomorrow, I can send it to Phyllis, and yes. This is a report, and on page 29 and in the back, we had a really good response to this, considering how quickly this went out and was completed. In the back, there are all sorts of, thank you, comments and responses in the back of this, and on page 29, great feedback. And you will see a lot of positive comments about the school district and being glad that the school district is partnering with the municipalities for joint recreation. It's been a positive response. We know who responded to the survey as well, because their names and the locations and stuff are in there, so we can track that as well. But yes, we've had a very positive response from both your rec plan in 2020 and just this recent survey. And some of the surveys were mailed back. So for example, we hard copied surveys to all the local businesses that were identified by members of the committee in the different townships and connected with the school. High Industries was one that returned theirs by hard copy, you know, and wrote comments on it. We gauged how much interest there is for people to sponsor activities.
That was gonna be my next
Yes,
question.
financial sponsorship, which is one of the questions that was asked, and would you be willing to volunteer for these activities? And people put in there, well, I would be willing to do this, if you wanna start something, I'll help you. One gentleman is actually a business owner, he said, I'll do it for free, you know, just to get involved in the community. You have strong interest here. I suspect that if we put that survey out even more broadly, we'd get even better responses, but they would be pretty consistent, and they've all been consistent responses. It's all been fairly positive.
The survey that went out, was that just to community members, or was it to, I don't know, was there a general demographic that it went out to, like everybody, or?
It went out to everybody, and we hard copied to businesses. So there were businesses, like Eurofins. They got a survey hard copied to them. The townships put the QR code out, the school district put the QR code out, people scanned it, we could track how many came back. We had a really good response.
Okay, do you have like the breakdown of how many businesses responded versus, it's in there?
It
Okay.
is, yeah.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah,
Electronic
this is my,
breakdown.
okay, well, this is my, I wrote in this one, but if you wanna just look at it. Hopefully I didn't write any state
Figured, but
secrets in
then
there.
Take a look at it.
Historically, and this isn't criticism, Conestoga Valley has not been a robust, our community has not been a robust community for capital campaigns and such, which is very conservative and that sort of thing. So if you got anybody saying they would do something for free or, you know, contribute, I think that's the missing piece. If it's a community initiative, are those in the community who are capable, willing also to go into it? We also have, is there any interest in including the non-public schools that have, in some cases, considerable facilities?
Yeah.
Did you get any feedback from them?
So when I came in, it was CV and the two townships, and I don't know if the schools were contacted. Diane, do you know?
I know we sent surveys out to.
No, but I mean prior, like in the process of, I think she's asking about the plan itself.
I mean, their students are CV residents and use the facilities now, so are their schools also willing to join in the pool of what's available?
I don't know the answer to that. In the original rec plan, they spoke to, those were some of the key members of the community they spoke to. As far as who responded to this survey, I'm not sure how many of those are from the private schools. I know there are a few, just based on the comments.
We have to look at you would have to look at the whole community and all the facilities available everywhere, not just that are owned by the school or owned by the township. My last question has to do with this grant. It goes down every year.
For the executive director?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, whatever the grants that you're working on now, every year it's 100% and it keeps going down.
Well, there's two different things. So I was hired under a peer consultant grant. Okay, so that's just for me.
Yeah.
But then, let's say all of you agree and everybody comes together and you sign the agreement. You apply to DCNR for a circuit rider. A circuit rider, say they come in at, just for ease of math, their salary is $100,000. It wouldn't be, but I'm just using it for ease of math.
We all
So-
apply for that job.
You would get the $100,000, that doesn't include health benefits, by the way. That question has been asked. It's straight salary. But you would get the $100,000 the first year, 75 the second year, 50 the third year, 25 the fourth year, and 0 the fifth year. But the grant for that circuit rider is 5 years. And that's because it takes 5 years, really, for a person to really get off the ground and be successful.
And how would that money be made up over that time?
So at this time, what East Lampeter has preliminarily agreed to in the agreement was to take on the cost of the executive director as an employee of East Lampeter Township. So that it would be cheaper for the commission in the long run to have a municipal employee, because to set up an entire, say, 501c3 for one person is untenable. But to absorb them as a township employee where they could get township benefits, and it's just more cost effective. So the model that they're looking at in this agreement, how it's drafted, is as an authority of the township. Or it could be Upper Laycock, it could be.
Yeah, but what I mean is, they are going to be reimbursed through that grant to a certain extent during those first 5 years. And then but every year it'll be less, and they're able to absorb that difference.
Yeah, to make up the difference, yes,
Okay.
that's the idea.
Well, then,
How about after that 5 years? Sorry.
see, here's the question I thought, if they can absorb that shrinking grant money, could they absorb a shrinking contribution till we got down to zero?
That would be a conversation you need to have with the committee.
Okay. And I think a lot of it falls in there. It's both the cost to us to make our facilities available and that lump sum grant. I think those are probably our two big things.
Would we have to contribute to that payroll then after that 5 years, or are they going to take care of that salary?
I can't
Or
speak.
not? That was in the agreement, whatever, it was only for the 5 years, correct?
Yeah, so this agreement is for
Okay.
5 years, and then after 5 years, you want to reevaluate the agreement, make sure it's working for everybody. The reason it's written that way, the question came up was, what if we decide we don't wanna do it after 3 years, right? It will be difficult to hire a quality person if they don't know that they're guaranteed
Right.
for the 5 years. As far as the costs go for the salary, I mean, this is the discussion points that we're having in the monthly meetings.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Gotcha.
but as an example, I am an employee of a 501c3. I'm not a City of Reading employee, and I'm not a school district employee. That has made things somewhat difficult at times because healthcare costs, there's different costs that are just a lot more expensive for my organization as a small organization than it would be if I was a City of Reading employee. And that's what we're looking at. So I think, I mean, I would invite anybody to come to our next meeting, and talk through these points with Ralph and Mike and people from the other municipalities, because I think it would be a good discussion.
The board's gonna have to decide what next steps it wants to take. I think we do owe at least to have the discussion.
We do, I agree with that.
How we go about that, we're going to have to decide.
Don't think you
First
wanna.
of all, we need to have someone at these meetings. And the first and second Wednesday? And I was going to pick that up, but that's my IU meeting. I also think as a board, we need to consider having someone that we appoint that isn't a board member. If necessary, perhaps a past board member. It's familiar with, what we do, because we have our plates full. I mean, you all realize that. Trying to get us all together at one time is a minor miracle. Adding another monthly meeting, for many of us, it just does not work. So we need to decide how best we can function to keep this conversation going. And we will stay in touch, and we will come up with our list of specific concerns and questions, and we'll move on from there.
Okay.
Do you mind if we keep one hard copy of this, or do you need?
No, absolutely not. And
Okay.
and if you'd like, I can make more hard copies and send them, or I can send it
I just thought
electronically.
it'd be good to have.
You can send
Electronic.
electronically.
Yeah,
Electronically, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that along with everything else we discussed.
Thank you. Mrs. Tyson, you've been so invested in this. And I know under usual circumstance, the usual agenda, you would have a public comment. So I'm going to give you that opportunity now. If there's something you desperately have to tell us.
Well, because you put the CV strong character traits on the table in front of everybody, I would like to encourage you to look at the last 3 and model them in this effort.
Thank you. I had planned on that when I decided to do this, but it probably applies to almost every issue we address.
It does, and lastly, when you look at $150,000 over 5 years, I could buy iPads, and that's tangible, but to invest in a commission without something tangible at the end of the process, it's tough.
Well, we will have to
But
have,
we'll have the discussion.
we'll have that difficult
We'll
discussion.
do
I
that.
would ask all board members to please, on your own, come up with specific questions that can give specific answers. And even more so, if you have an alternative. Like, if we don't do this, can we do that, you know, and so forth. I think if we're going to have the discussion, I don't often say if you have a complaint, you have to have a solution, but it would help a little bit in this case. Thank you. And I appreciate everyone's patience with this. I know at one point it was very frustrating. Any other questions on that issue? So we also have a compliance resolution.
Yeah, that's
Your
mine.
final presentation.
Last one, here we go.
Wow.
So back in July, the legislature passed and the governor signed a piece of legislation that became Act 57, which essentially amends the Local Tax Collection Act to basically deal with some issues where taxpayers may say that they had not received a tax bill for whatever reason. And, you know, they come back to us if they can't prove something. I mean, we sort of know tax bills go out in the July timeframe, at least from the school district standpoint. And so, you know, we've really held the line. All school districts have really held the line on that. So what the legislation does is it gives the taxpayer basically relief from those penalties that go into place. Certainly, I think everybody knows the first 2 months of the tax year is a discount period. The second 2 months, you pay at the face value, and then the last 2 months, their penalties are assessed to the tax bill. So the taxpayer must prove that their acquisition and ownership of the taxable property that they want to be waived any penalties on. They must sign an affirmation stating that the real estate bill for the property was not received. And they must pay the entire amount of the face value of the real estate taxes owed on the property at the time that they submit their waiver. So this is all new, so I don't have a form to show you. One of the things that's gonna happen as part of this is the Department of Community and Economic Development, which sort of administers all of these things, will have to come up with a waiver form. It'll be a standard form, we'll all use it, that sort of thing. But one of the things that it requires both school district and municipal government, so anybody that's a taxing entity, to put in place is the resolution that you have before you. So this one was actually drafted at the state level. Kegel, Kellen, Lord and Litz was hired to do this work, so they drafted it. I did pass it through Bob Frankhauser to make sure that, you know, it was kosher with him, and he didn't have any changes to it. We put it on for tonight because originally the information that we had received was that it had to be approved prior to October 9th. And so obviously we don't have a board meeting between now and then. But more information has come out now that because we are a school district, so we run on the July 1 to June 30th tax year, we actually have until January to put the resolution in place. The taxing entities that run on the calendar year have a shorter time frame. So I didn't want to put it on the agenda and pull it off the agenda and sort of make sort of a mess of things. If you want to approve it tonight, I think that's fine. If you don't, that's totally fine too. At least I was here, was able to run through it with you. If you have any questions, you know, reach out to me, let me know. I'll do some research here. I'll make sure Adele has the folder before I head out. But, you know, it's a fairly simplistic resolution. So, you know, I passed legal muster. I don't think there's anything nefarious about it. It's just getting that in place, and then it'll help taxpayers who are in that situation.
Well, considering we have to pass the resolution, doesn't seem to me to make much sense to leave loose ends and have to bring it back. So,
Fine.
are there any questions on this issue or any reason why you feel we should put it off? If not, I would take a motion.
I move we approve the motion as the resolution as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka?
Aye.
Mr. Hurst?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge?
Aye.
Mr. Benigno?
Aye.
Mrs. Crawford?
Aye. There, it's taken care of, we'll have to look at it again.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or issues on the finance and operations report, on the curriculum and instruction report? And are there any federal funds reports?
No, ma'am.
The IE report is on there. My PSBA report, you should have all received the latest bulletin. I would suggest that you look at this one. There's a third entry into this public input at meetings. It seems as if this is going to go on forever, and I think we may as well just decide to address that policy and have it over with. Because they'll constantly have something else they want to suggest. PSBA seems to have it tied up in their own bureaucracy, and I think we need to address it. I would mention there also were two other parts in that report that I thought were important. Profile of the school director is always interesting, as well as the report I mentioned. I think that was all I wanted to bring to your attention there. Oh, I know, is anyone here planning on the conference? No, nobody's going to the Poconos, okay. Then nothing else in there would really apply. There was one other issue I noticed today that I wanted to caught my eye, and that was this issue of cell phones in schools. I did not realize how many schools have very strict bans on them. And quite frankly, I think there's no way we're going to get rid of them. It's a waste of time to try. You just have to find out best ways to deal with it. That's my take on it. Lancaster County Academy will be losing its lease next year. They're closing that building down. They're going to go all virtual. And that leaves us without a home. We haven't had,
For,
for the academy.
yes, but we just give an overview of what the,
Right now.
is that the one at the mall? Or is
No,
that- or the
hasn't been at the
mall
mall,
for years?
then it went to Hack, and now
We
we're
dig
up
myself
in the
more of a
corner of, up in the, what's the name of it?
Central Penn. It's the Central Penn.
Central Penn
right on the corner
College.
of Greenfield Road, North
Yeah,
Philadelphia
Greenfield
Pike.
and Old
Yeah.
Pike, okay. That building, we don't know what's happening with it. It's possible that we could still rent part of it depending what the new owners do with it, because it has several separate entrances, like 3 buildings, put together. Meanwhile, we're looking to see where else we can go. We're stable with the one in Mount Joy at the church.
How many students do we have? How many students do we have there?
I don't think I have that number right
Is it
now.
under
We have 10?
10 students?
slots.
Ish,
Oh, how many
ish.
do we
students?
have?
Yeah, how many do we have?
Oh, we have, I think our 10 slots are probably filled.
10?
And many years we bought extra slots. It has been doing very well attracting students this last year. I often say one of the pros of the pandemic was that a lot of students had a chance to try all different kinds of methods to be educated. So those that did well on virtual are now more interested. It doesn't seem so strange that it used to. It's done better than it used to. The teachers are more trained in how to present a course online. And the kids all seem to be very dedicated. We don't have the dropouts we used to have. It's doing very well, but we do want to stay at this end of town and preferably on the main road, because that makes a difference for the kids that come on a bus. Makes a huge difference. So I just wanted to let you know that was, anyone thinks of a place that might have some classrooms available, let me know. Construction team update.
All right, I'm missing 2 of them. Construction people.
So the overall middle school project is 90% complete, but was previously reported that the teachers are back in the building, working on their classrooms, setting up their classrooms. The foot is not off the pedal, though. We have a temporary occupancy permit that we're shooting for. That inspection is due this Thursday, the 22nd, at 3:30 in the afternoon. Beyond that, the other portions of the building that will not be included in that or continue to be worked on. That would be the tech ed area primarily and the gymnasium. I think the gymnasium will probably be the longest running portion of the remainder of the building, and primarily because of the wood flooring. The wood flooring is going to be the longest operation as far as any installation. But the rest of those areas are being worked on. Mechanical systems are up and running, I'd say probably at maybe 90% capacity, certainly in the classroom areas, the educational areas, or I'm sorry, the classroom areas, the systems are running fully. But they have some other portions of the building that they have to continue to tweak to bring up online. Electrically, again, the building is online, barring lighting that will be required in the remaining construction areas, the tech ed and the gym. And I think IT, and just last talking to them, they are very close to being 100%.
Questions, concerns? Fingers crossed. Thank you.
When do you think we're gonna be done?
Well, and so the
we're
remainder,
never done.
the biggest
Done.
part is going to be obviously, or maybe it's not obvious, but the gymnasium.
I know the
And that work.
floors.
So that's, yeah,
Yeah,
so,
the issue with that, but let's say everything else minus the floor.
it's now being projected probably mid-October. I don't know if we've heard any other dates.
There's
than
no
that.
way you're gonna make mid-October.
Well,
There's no way.
Tech
I mean,
ed is, tech
yeah.
ed is well underway, It's really the gymnasium is the biggest area and some ancillary rooms and the locker rooms and that type of a thing.
I just wanna make promises, number one, we can't keep, because it's been a little bit revolving
Yeah.
door, that's all I'm saying. Give yourself some breathing room. 6 months, a year, more, to
I
get it whole
highly,
thing done. I'm just throwing it,
no, I don't think 6 months is out there. Certainly not a year, but I don't think 6 months is.
I mean, including that building part of the building to the left, not the right, where you have all the classrooms.
Everything to the,
Talking about everything to the,
everything to the east.
yes,
Yes, then that's what I was describing, the tech ed area, the loading dock. Primarily a large portion of that is the admin area, it's closer to the center, is the cafeteria, is the kitchen, is the servery. That's to be included in the TCO. So what remains over there is, as I said, the tech ed and some ancillary rooms and primarily the gym is the biggest part.
Yes, tech ed, music, and the gym.
Tech ed, music and gym, I'm sorry, yes.
That's
Music
on the
being on
left,
the north side, yes.
what I don't want to happen is, we move the kids in, all of a sudden the pressure's off. You know, just keep it going, because we haven't even gone
Right.
through the punch list
Right.
stuff yet, making sure everything works, et cetera. We got winter coming.
Punch list that's a very good point, and
Yeah.
that will be a long, arduous
Yes, it
process,
will.
as it always
It will.
is.
I remember
always
rounds
is.
contests seem to go on forever.
It did.
And it has started, on the design professional side of it, it has started. We certainly try to maintain it as we go, the quality and everything, but there are a number of items that, as there just would be in a building that size.
How is this impacting our next step in this whole bigger project?
As far as the, as far as the,
Is everyone ready to
Smoketown?
go once we get back on a schedule, a new schedule for the renovation part of this project?
to my knowledge, everybody's ready to go, yes.
We have had contractors already, coming in, doing some survey work at the.
So we're getting a little bit of a head start on that
Yeah,
one?
they're ready to
We're-
go.
To start
They're-
demolishing what they need, to do what they need to do?
Not as of yet, because there's,
Yeah,
but their official start date is October 3rd.
Okay.
But they've been getting all their paperwork in, their
Right, they're starting
clearances have been coming
Starting to
in,
purchase materials,
yeah.
starting to procure,
So shop drawings have already been submitted and reviewed for certain things. Yeah, they're definitely ready to go, all of them, actually.
Good.
So we have another job conference meeting this coming Wednesday, for that building.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I just need to find a place to go with all the furniture so they can go.
Oh, no, just, okay.
One step at a
Well,
time.
it is one step at a time.
One step at a time. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, certainly.
At this point in the meeting, is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Are there any other board announcements? The two I mentioned before, I wanted to add that I had gone to a VIA meeting, and I encourage you all, if you can pick one of those to go. They are the most enthusiastic group I have been around for so long. While we were all getting our fingers into management and trying to figure out how we could help with suggestions on getting moved in, they were already doing it. They had started long before we thought we had to come up with something to help them. Lunches, meals, I mean, everything we talked about doing, the VIA ladies have been doing it. They've been doing a wonderful job. And I wanted to take a moment tonight to mention one other piece of community input. Every Thursday, I open my buckskin glass, and at the bottom is the same ad again and again for CVCCS, the Christian Community Services.
Mhm.
And I am impressed with what they do for our community. And we talked before, especially recently when we lost a couple students, about the kind of stress that some of our families have. And I am so thankful that we have an organization like this in the community, that where you can tell people, go here, that they will help you.
Mhm.
And I encourage everyone to do just that if you know of anything, because we have to look out for these kids. Election of PSBA officers. Don't ask me what's happening here. I have no idea what happened to the part of that election that included the insurance trustees. It's not my problem. So, Mrs. Martin, we have what, there's a form that you will fill out?
It's electronic, yes.
Okay. Okay, you've seen the names, this is up to you. I can't remember offhand if we actually voted every year. You will notice that there is only one person for each of the two offices. This is a bone I pick every year, because they changed the format to get more, supposedly, more member participation. At the same time, they went into their bylaws and deleted the entire member participation part of it, and they wonder why they don't have anyone stepping up. For me, all that's important is PSBA does what we asked them to do for us and provides us with services. So if you are interested in voting, you don't have to, then somebody needs to make a motion to vote to elect the slated candidates.
Second motion? I will make a motion to vote for the slated candidates.
Anyone interested in seconding the motion?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Are there any noes or abstentions? Here we go. We will let them know that we voted. The dates are on your calendar. Any questions or concerns about that? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn to executive session for legal and personnel reasons.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. We are adjourned for a few moments.